Hello, hello, hello. Join us at the Digital Innovation Pavilion. We will be talking about what is missing for biodiversity finance. Hello. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's totally in the Amazon. The first time the conference is being held. It is part of the exhibition. Very important. One of the biggest biodiversity on biodiversity system on Earth. So today we are very happy to have space here and to discuss more into what biodiversity means to finance, or better, what finance would mean to biodiversity, and to talk about these issues we are having today. Marco Farage, the CEO, the CTO from Amazon Trade, and also Gael Rubenhill, CEO from the Radio. So welcome. And also welcome to our hosts. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Almost at the end of talk, but we still have a lot to talk about. So I'll start just giving them some time so they can present a bit what they're doing and talk about their experience raising the bridges between Switzerland, the Amazon, and also between other countries, Tanzania. Please, Kyle, go ahead. All right. So, thank you. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Rahel, the CEO of Radio, and co-founded Radio with two other co-founders in Switzerland. And we make smallholder finance more accessible for smallholder farmers in the global south, but also more profitable for local financial institutions. Why is smallholder finance so important? There are around 475 million farming families who produce around 30% of the world's food crop supply, and they usually operate in biodiversity hotspots, which are crucial for climate and nature. But despite this huge impact, smallholder finance faces an annual $170 billion gap in demand. This is due to the many risks that you can see here, but one of the main barriers that we identified is the lack of reliable credit loan collateral. That's why we came up with a solution, a loan system backed by nature assets. How are we doing this? We are developing projects, nature-based carbon projects such as forest conservation, afforestation, biodiversity restoration, and biochar carbon removal, together with local field partners. One of our field partners is here in the audience, it's Marco from Amazon, it's a field partner from Brazil. And then we certify these projects based on their carbon and biodiversity value, and use the predicted revenue from the sales of the credit as lending collateral, who are secured by contracts. One of the contracts that you can see here is in Swahili. This was one of our projects in Tanzania. And to keep it transparent, low risk and low cost, we are building a platform that holds it all together. So, with our model, smallholder farmers benefit twice. From access to capital already now to become more productive from their field and more climate resilient, and also from a future revenue stream from the nature-based carbon revenue that we are making. And on the other hand, financial institutions will benefit from access to a smallholder farmer market, because we can de-risk micro-lending and also make it more cost efficient. How does it work? So we are getting the right to certify carbon credits from the smallholder farmer. Then we turn the predicted revenue of the sales of the nature-based carbon into lending collateral for the financial institution. If contracts are in place, financial institutions are paying the loans to the smallholder farmers, and if successfully paid back plus interest after 6 months, the farmer also receives 70% of the nature-based carbon revenue, which is also the size of the collateral. And radio makes its revenue with 2 different revenue streams: 30% of the nature-based carbon revenue, and also a 2.5% fee of the loan volume paid by financial institutions. This is the data for the carbon accounting, and the data output is actually transparent documentation, value and risk analytics, and also contracts that build the nature-based carbon as collateral. So we are offering and selling carbon offsets paired with high impact. We have also 6 different impact categories that we can present here. Would increase smallholder farmers have access to money and become more productive on their field. We also educate forest stewards in the field, who then can become forest stewards in forestry and also in agricultural purposes. And obviously, we are reducing and we are removing carbon, which also leads to forest conservation and biodiversity restoration. We've already seen traction in Tanzania because we have started our pilot in Tanzania with biodiversity restoration. And what we have seen is actually next to a productivity increase of the farmers, we have seen also a mindset shift from the farmers. So they are now actually realizing that protecting nature, protecting forests, and also planting new indigenous trees, so for biodiversity restoration, is profitable for them. So our waitlist grew. We started 7 farmers beginning of the year, and after a half a year, we got 50 farmers on our waitlist, which is very nice to see as well. To put this in numbers, we are planning to serve a 17 million market within 5 years. And what makes us unique? Next to normal carbon project developers such as Acorn, which are based in the Rabobank, we can make sure that farmers can access money already today and not in 5-year or 10-year time when the carbon are issued and the revenue is generated. So we are making sure that the farmer can get productive capital today to become more efficient and climate resilient in the field, but also help the carbon revenue in the future. Then Kumo is a bank. They are doing carbon as collateral, but only for project developers and not on the small of the farmer category. And they are also getting fees on a national level, but this is not market-based and this is not for the long term. So we are looking for a market-based model which can actually bring or solve the challenges of the smallholder farmer in the field. And to do that, we already have a great team with expertise in sustainability and finance and IT. We have our co-founder Patrick. He couldn't be here, but is in Switzerland operating and bringing all together. And we have Toby, our CTO, doing all the technical issues. So to accelerate this effect that I just was mentioning in the field, that farmers really can work with nature and biodiversity and put it into a financial asset and get money from local banks, but also future revenue streams. We need funding, pre-seed funding, 600,000, but also strategic partners in the financial sector. Our roadmap is, and now I'm coming to a new project that we are just launching, and that's why Marco from Amastrace is also here. We're actually looking into biochar carbon removal with acai residues in the Amazon region of Brazil. And that's why Marco and Amastrace, we will present afterwards as well. They are bringing the access to the smallholder farmers and also doing the digital monitoring and the whole MRV. So we are launching this project beginning of next year. Maybe go back. Okay. And with a proof of concept, until end of 2026, we want to reach proof of concept to issue the first nature-based carbon credit in 2027, then release our platform by 2028, and reach break-even by 2030. Thank you very much, and let's remove carbon and improve livelihoods together.
Thank you, Diane. It was very interesting to learn what you're doing this year. It's very important as well to understand how you can help also the small farmers and people that don't have access to information, and sometimes they don't have access to internet and so on, how they can perform better. They can also help them to have more financial independence. As we know in Brazil, it's a country with medium income base, so we can understand that other people have different needs, and I think strategy solution can help them to finally have what they need for basic rights, right? So now we're going to hear a little bit more from Marco and what he's been doing. He's actually from Macapá, which is almost an island where you can only access by plane or by boat. So I'm glad you took your boat or your planes in here. And welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Miroslav, for the space, for the opportunity. Thank you also, Rael, for the invitation. So, my name is Marco. I am the CTO and co-founder of Amastrace. I was born here in Belém, but I live in Macapá, which, as Julian said, is a city like an island. We can only go there through plane or boat. No, I was lucky enough to come by plane because the boat trip is like 2 days. You need to have a hammock, to sleep there. But it's also good. It's a Amazonian experience. Okay. Well, we are a traceability startup, traceability and rural management startup. We are based, as I told you, in Macapá. Most of our customers are here in the Pará region and in the whole Amazon. And well, we provide all the data of the small and medium producers. Our focus are the smallholder farmers. So we have technology that is super acceptable for them. Today, it's really hard for smallholder farmers to, for example, download an app. They do not have space in their phones. Most of them have smartphones. It's normal today, but they are still a little bit technological illiterate. It's hard for them to. And what we saw, there is a data that 90% of rural producers of Brazil, they use WhatsApp, and we validated that. We went to the field and saw there is, including a cooperative, a customer of ours, that they have a whole management system of sales and purchases through WhatsApp. It's beautiful. It's good because it works. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. So, with all of the tech we have today, AI, LLMs, we built our solution all through WhatsApp. So today the producer can issue invoices, he can generate QR codes compliant with EUDR, with local regulations, all GS1 compliant also. And we have even customers that cannot even read or write. And they can do it through audio, and they have all of the things they need. Okay? And not only that, we also provide, because usually we work with these institutions that fund the work with the producers. So we are able also to provide ESG metrics, impact metrics. We know exactly how that funding is changing the lives of the producers, because demonstrates economic traceability. It's a whole ecosystem of management. So the producer knows how much is he spending, How much is he earning? Is he using too much fuel? Is he spending too much with men work, manpower? We know all of it. And we are also allowing the producer to know it, because before he did not know, was just doing things, just doing, let's see what happens. And we are providing this to them. We are also connecting them with the international market, with funding, because this is something that we will discuss briefly. One of the issues, okay, how can we fund the Amazon? How can we fund the forest? How can we fund biodiversity when you don't know what's happening there? When you have no data, you don't know how they're living, you don't know what they're doing. So this is what we do. We bring all of these things. And talking a bit about our traction where we operate, we are actually all around the Amazon and all around the north of Brazil. Actually, we have individual customers, like individual producers, distributors that sell supermarkets. But we also do work with plenty of smallholder farmers from cooperatives from Brazil. And we have really good examples here that show how inserted we are in the biodiversity of the region. So we have in Porto Grande, Amapá, we have pineapple producers, okay, which they have a geographical indication already. So if you search for it, you will see pineapple from Porto Grande. It has specific qualities. It's really good. You should try it. Okay. We also have cocoa producers from the Third Amazonic region, which is around here in Pará, which is a region known for, well, it's not a good fame they have. They had a lot of deforestation. They had a lot of big farmers going there. But right now, it's changing. Right now, the dynamics are changing. We have a lot of cocoa producers, sustainable cocoa producers with agroforestries, and we are also inserted in that field. We also have fruits and vegetable producers from Castanhal, which is around here. It's really close to Belém. We have more than 300 producers there. They produce pumpkin, they produce acai, they produce cocoa, they produce orange, they produce pepper. They produce everything you can think of. They sell to big supermarkets in the region, and they are already working to sell abroad. And I think this is a really interesting case, because we also work with acai producers from high-need islands. They are here in Amapá, also Portugal is based in Amapá too. But these islands, well, imagine they are river islands made of mud. So they are always changing. The infrastructure is so hard, like electricity. Sometimes you don't have it because it just falls. Everything falls. The infrastructure falls because the rate's changing every day. Water, like pure water, is hard for them. Also, they need sometimes to bring it from the city. Well, we do work with them. Like whenever we visit them, we get them food, we get everything we can to help them, because it's hard for them to access it. And right now, we are able to provide for them a technology that allows them to sell their acai to the international market. Of course, they have a cooperative, they have a good organization, and we are helping them with that. And well, when we talk about, as I just said, we have no data. We have no data about the Amazon people, and even for the government itself, it's hard. We here in our region, we love to have acai. Everybody has acai every day. It's like lunch and dinner acai. And if you, it's interesting. And if you ask the government, okay, what's the production of acai in the state of Amapá or Pará? They don't know. Perhaps they know how much of exported, how much we have not because they well. At least they need to know that, but the actual production from the producers, no. And we are bridging this gap. And well, at the end of the day, without data, without traceability, you cannot fund projects, you cannot fund people, you do not know people, you do not know what they need. How are you going to fund something that when you don't know their needs? And this is a problem. It's a problem that we are right now getting. And with that, in the data, at the end of the day, we can use it for certifications, to be compliant with EUDR, with local regulations. And we also have enough data to work with And that's why we are also working with Radar, because we saw, hey, we have something here that we can use together, that we can integrate and create something even better, something even bigger, which is our partnership with Reno. Then we come to the reality of Brazil. So 80% of family farmers in the Amazon have restricted access to credit. And it's interesting because, for example, in Tanzania, they can use their land as collateral. But here, it is not interesting for banks because you have plenty of land, and a lot of land, by the way. So there is no guarantee for the credits. It's okay, yeah, the government subsidizes some things, but for you to be sustainable, you need this. I mean, it's not enough. And great comes with a really innovative solution, something that is able to actually change the way things happen here. Because as she already said a bit, we are talking about biochar from acai seeds. And as I just told you now, we have acai every day, every time, all time of the year. And the acai seeds actually are a problem, a waste problem, because the acai fruit, only like 15 to 10% is the pulp. The rest is just the seed. It's just waste. Sorry. And you have plenty of acai stores in the city. And these acai stores, like they leave their acai seeds in front of the store. You know, sometimes it just like it starts to smell bad. You know, it's being degraded. Like you have a lot of so it's a waste problem. And we know now we have technology already to create biochar from the acai seeds. And even if there was no carbon at the chain, the biochar can go back to the producer to make the land more productive and everything. You store more water, store the carbon. And at the end of the day, when we are able to create this sustainable cycle of transforming the waste into something that goes to the land and also is able to generate revenue for the producer, it's just unimaginable for what we are currently doing. And this is the kind of partnership that we here in Top 30 should be looking for. Sustainable partnerships that are able to actually make a difference where we live. Because like right now everybody I think is actually living the city. You know, this heat that we are feeling, we feel it every day for the whole year. You know, and you can imagine how hard it is for people to study. Like we cannot study with this heat. I mean, we have a condition. Everybody here has to do like air conditioner, but we have a lot of people that do not have it. So how can we expect big things for them when we cannot provide the basics? And this is what we are trying to change.
Thank you very much, Marco. Just setting a bit the theme of the conversation, I just want to explain for our audience, and thanks for being here with us. We were part of a Swiss program called NextBio. I was in the first edition as a researcher. I am from Berlin. I live in Switzerland for more than 7 years, and this year I'm working for the Swiss embassy, and I got 1 hour free to be here. So it's very nice to see two words flashing: the diplomat word and also the word of the people of Berlin. And for me, it's a pleasure and an honor to have this hopefully here. So last year I was in Berlin back to be part of the program. We fostered bioeconomy in the Amazon. We want to build bridge between Switzerland and the Amazon, because Switzerland has a history working in Brazil and in partnerships as well. Museo the first scientific institution of the Amazon, was directed by a Swiss, which is named after the museum Verdi, because of Verdi. And this year we are reconstruction his house there, and it's a partnership that's very important for these people, and also it's a legacy after COP30. So next video program open doors for these two people. While is from Switzerland, a very scenic, beautiful landscape. It's called Appenzell. Yeah, and it's one of the most famous places in Switzerland where you see Heidi running there every morning, like it's how it used to be, I guess. And then we have Marco, that is from Marco Farm, and he was last year at St. Gallen University, which is the business elite university in Switzerland. That I also worked with last year. That's why I came to Brazil to the program. And it's interesting because it's two different worlds. Like Switzerland is cold most of the year, like 6, 7 months we have a very strong winter. And while in Berlin it's very warm and also the people are different and so on. And I'm trying to understand what both of you think was missing for attracting large scale investments in the Amazon region. We have many potential. We have people that work hard here. We have good researchers and good institutions, scientific institutions, but we still don't have data. And still, the Amazon region faces a lot of practices, not only in the Brazilian region, but also in Peru, in Venezuela, and Colombia, and so on. So I want to hear from you as entrepreneurs and also a young leadership in the climate action, as I believe so, what you actually think it's missing. It's not only from a nature-based or a scientific-based opinion, but also from a human rights perspective. Who wants to go first?
So first of all, I want to start to have investment in Brazil, in the Amazon region. First of all, we need to understand who lives in the Amazon. So for me, it was always very important to create a solution, not like how we interpret them in Switzerland, but what are the needs actually in the field. For example, I go back to Tanzania and then come back to Brazil. For example, in Tanzania, I did a research, my master's thesis actually, and my research question when I left for Tanzania to do my field research was totally different than when I went there and actually talked to the people. So based on research, usually there is data there which doesn't really reflect what is happening in the field. So what I wanted to always do is to understand what is needed in the field. And basically in Tanzania, there is a huge demand of money, obviously. But why isn't it working? Why do not financial institutions give money to such a huge potential of market, which is a smaller government? I can tell you why. It's all about risk sharing. At the moment, farmers, they have all the risk. But it can't work if a farmer needs to pay around 20 to 40% of interest and then get a loan for this cost. So we need to have some sort of model which is a fair risk sharing model. That's why I also came up with Rail. So we are trying to kind of balance this risk that it's still fair, but also economic. So that's why we are doing Rail because we are kind of introducing a mechanism where we have a nature-based properties collector, which is what Marco before told us. Usually they use land as collection. And for the farmer, this is just way too risky. So they can't actually use their land because if they use it, they can't operate anymore. So it's their existence. So that's why we introduced an other asset that they have, and they have a very attractive asset. It's nature-based, it's nature. They have forests. And but forest at the moment has no economic value. So that's why we looked into the market, which actually can give a value to nature. This is the carbon market and the upcoming biodiversity market. So we are translating it into nature-based carbon. And basically, there is still a risk for the farmer because it's a future revenue stream that they can generate, but it's not land as collateral. And on the financial institution side, we can see that we have a very liquid value, which when a farmer is defaulting, this value can directly be paid to the financial institution. So we have with this model also an opportunity to de-risk the loan and also show financial institutions that the cost don't need to be as high as they usually are in the private or in the commercial financial institution market. And this is 12% per year. That's what we are applying in Tanzania and what we also want to look into Brazil as well. So just to sum up, it needs to have a fair and economic risk-sharing model for the investments that they can work in both Brazil and Tanzania and in the global south.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, I think continuing with what Ronald said, I totally agree with that. And for us, what I can see, what is clear to me is this is knowing the people, knowing who you're financing, who you're funding, and knowing exactly what's important for them, because and what they are able to provide for you, and how you need to look at it. Because even when we talk about funding from, for example, other sources, big sources from the global north, usually it was also something that a local NGO said to us as a problem. Like, okay, they will fund it, but they will ask for big reports that sometimes ask for things that the producers cannot provide at the moment. So the NGO will stay in a top position. And this happens because we don't know yet the international market, international capital market, does not know yet the specifics of the region. For example, as I just said, okay, my city, I live in the capital of Amapá, and still we have no roads from the rest of the country to go there. But imagine the size of the Amazon and the amount of people you have in different communities all around the forest. So, I even said it yesterday. These guys do not have infrastructure. So perhaps if we actually want to make a difference in the Amazon and make a difference in people's lives and preserve Mother Nature, we need to look into how they live today, and how can we make it so that they continue to live like this, but earn more money, have a better life, and we use the resources we have. I'll give you an example. So, okay, we are talking about roads, but you have technology all over the world for example, solar boats powered by solar energy. This could be something huge here. We have plenty of rivers. All of the logistics happens by rivers, but with rivers powered by diesel, by fossil fuels. They are expensive also. So for the producer, whenever he wants to sell something, he will always sell to the middleman that has a big boat, that has money, go there, buys it in a cheap price, and sells to the big thing. So let's say knowing actually the reality of each specific region and each specific community. When we know that, we will be able to create models that will be good both for the north and both for the south as a whole. This is a challenge here. Even for administrators, how can we translate the data we are getting to data that can be used for funding? That's a challenge, and this is what we are actually trying to do to get.
Thank you so much. Just as a number, we have more than 20 million people living only in the Brazilian Amazon. So I heard from you that you believe that both the models tailored for the Amazon people should help the investment still right here, and also knowing the other ends, right? Knowing the people, knowing what they need, and how you can adapt it to their environment. And I'm thinking, first, we have good scientific institutions here. Do you think they also still lacking great amounts of funding because we don't have enough data for them?
When we talk about local institutions, actually, one of the problems is data, because we also need to, okay, we can give practical examples. So first data, for example, when we talk about predictive data. So with our solution, for example, we could give predictions for banks for them to know, okay, this computer with what he has, he will be able to have a capacity to pay for us like this. Okay. These kind of data, the risks in the bank. And then we talk about what Daniel is building. This is actually something big for the rural credit because we actually said it already. They do not have guarantees. And using the carbon credits as a guarantee, something that you can actually, you will see the money, you will come up with agreement with the buyer. This is huge because we are talking about even making the interest rates smaller because you are reducing the operation. And we have talked to banks already, and this is something, this is a problem for them. And we said, look, we can use carbon credits to actually bigger crazy, but even like government banks. So it's new and it's something that can actually change the reality.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, maybe I just wanted to add and also summarize a bit what we have been talking here. So I think, as Marco said, local ownership, but also economic, financial products are very important and need to go hand in hand. So smallholder farmers need to understand what is actually carbon, what is biodiversity, what is smallholder finance, what contracts are they going into? And I have a nice example here from Tanzania as well, because I've been in the field and biodiversity, for example, because we're talking here about biodiversity, is actually a concept that does not exist in Swahili. So you can't translate it into Swahili. So that was a challenge when we came there, and then we did a workshop together with smallholder farmers, walking from plot to plot, actually exploring the different qualities of the forest plots who are owned by the smallholder farmers, and ask them how would you describe the quality of the forest? And they said, and how can you make it better? And then they said that in terms of biodiversity, I think our forests could be good again if the monkeys come back, because then we have the three different species with food, with different food, and there is the habitat there where the monkeys can live and other animals. That was actually very nice, but it showed also to me you need to build such a project bottom up. You can't just come there and tell them something which they don't understand. And for us, this also showed now in our testing in Tanzania that they want the model to work because they see the potential in it. And that's why we have at the moment 0 default rates. So they really want to have the product is working for them as well.
Thank you so much. Yes, so we talk about the lack of raw material to the Amazon, the lack of mechanisms to reduce the risk and the loan or investments into the Amazon, the lack of monitoring science. Well, I see a lot of lacking there, right? I know it's complicated. I know everyone is trying to do their own work and believing in the greater view and the greater impact. But if you could tell me a specific mechanism or one policy that the government, as we are the Brazilian government, could do to help to scale the investment to Amazon, what would be?
So definitely we need to have a standardized methodology to value biodiversity. This would help enormously, and I think this is also a task which can the government push and accelerate. I mean, for carbon, it took us 20 years or 30 years until we reached it. But I hope for biodiversity and nature, even though it's more complex, but
So it's a matter of having the best conditions, because when we have the best conditions, we have examples of people with from the region with great conditions where they got. We have one here at our site. You know, so that's it. That's the thing we need to do.
Finish it and then I will cry a little bit. Thank you so much. I think I agree with both of you. You are both in field and meeting the people. I really expect and hope that in the coming years we're gonna have better policies, not only for biodiversity or credit carbons, but also for the Amazon protection and the people that live in the Amazon. Brazil has still a lower index of development, human development, but we are working on that. If we compare to Switzerland, it's a way long, but still, as you said, we are here first time in the United the Amazon region to discuss a better policies and better commitments for the world and also for fighting climate change. If we don't fight climate change, we cannot give dignity to people. So without dignity, we are no human. So let's celebrate what we are doing here today, and I appreciate the time and also the effort for you to come so far to be here. Thank you so much, and thank you.